Suspiria is a horror remake of the classic 1977 Dario Argento film, and this time it's directed by Luca Guadagnino and it stars Dakota Johnson and Tilda Swinton. And this is the best type of remake. The remake that takes the original's premise and does something completely different. And small spoiler for the original film, just straight out of the park, they tell you in this film, this is about witches. This is about a dance school where the teachers are witches. And it just takes that premise of an American student who goes to this school and it does some truly inventive things. Even though this isn't as great as many were expecting to be, it's a very solid film, one that grew on me the more I thought about it. And this film is 2 hours and a half long. And some might say it's too long, and I have to agree. There are some slow moments in this film, some side plots that could have been trimmed down, and it follows basically just 2 stories. It is about Dakota Johnson, who goes to this school, there's Tilda Swinton, who is one of the teachers, she learns to dance, and there are some weird things going on, and students start disappearing. And then we also have a side story, which is about a psychologist, played by a German actor who we all knew was going to be Tilda Swinton in makeup. There isn't a single man in this film, pretty much. The only 2 men are buffoons who have 2 minutes of screen time, more or less. And it's about this psychologist who was treating one of the girls in the school, and once she disappears, it starts to uncover more clues to her disappearance. And this film was an interesting watch. It's marketed as a horror film. There was they showed an extreme scene at Comic-Con from the film, and the scene is in the film. The only truly disturbing part of the film, quite gruesome and hard to watch. A woman beside me was almost getting sick watching it. She had to cover her eyes and everything. Very good scene, but other than that, this wasn't a scary film. It's one of those horror films, more like The Witch and other films such as that are more focused on telling a story and exploring certain themes and being more artistic rather than focusing on jump scares and gore just for the sake of it. And yes, it's hard to talk about this story without going too much into it, but I have to say, performances, very darn good. Dakota Johnson was quite good in the film, not particularly great, but that's also due to her character, who is very different from Jessica Harper from the original film. This version is more confident, is more competitive even, and she gets to this school and she's already like, I'm gonna do the leading part, I'm gonna do my best, I'm pretty good, I'm gonna do this and that. And their confidence is very mysterious, very weird and unsettling in a way. Tilda Swinton, fantastic as always. She delivers 2, maybe even 3 great performances in this film. And she becomes her characters. And she really gives the most emotional performance. There are also some other actresses like Mia Goth and Chloe Grace Moretz who have smaller roles, who do a fine job in the film as well. But the true star is Luca Guadagnino, his direction and his cinematography, because this is a stunning film to look at. The exact opposite from the 77 version, that was extremely colorful with strong lighting and shadows. This version is more somber, it's set still in 1977 Berlin, and you do feel the Cold War setting, you do feel the coldness of the era, and it works wonderfully. Also the soundtrack by Thom Yorke from Radiohead, great, truly great. And also again, the opposite of the Goblin soundtrack of the original. This one is also more romantic, more unsettling in a nice way. And I have to say, just like other films at the festival, it's just a little too long. There are some parts where it kind of drags and you're like, okay, I'm just starting to get a little bit sleepy, but then it kicks right back into gear with the finale, and the finale was what truly divided critics and audiences at the festival, because some truly loved it because there are some revelations that come kind of out of nowhere, and others hated it for the same exact reason. At first I didn't like it, but then talking with other people it grew on me more and more, but it still feels so much different, with also some touches of humor that feel very inappropriate for the more somber tone of the film up to that point. And it has a final shot, final sequence that is just like, okay, I guess this is how it ends, fine. Let's just say, yeah, it's probably 10 minutes too long, with a revelation that still doesn't make sense, that still has confused a lot of audience members, but that is probably going to make, going to create a bajillion ending explained of Suspiria, let's analyze the entire film and get to the ending, and then I say, but this is probably one of the explanations, so it's some of those bullshit videos. But honestly, I think Suspiria is worth watching, but beware! First of all, it's quite graphic, violent, whatever, but this is not a typical horror film. This is more of a art house version of a horror film, more artistic. It's gonna come out near Halloween. If you go in expecting to be scared, you're not. You're probably gonna be bored if you go in with that mindset. But if you want smarter horror films, if you want more complex stories, something more intriguing and artistic, then definitely watch Suspiria by Guadagnino. But still, guys, are you interested in this remake, and what is your opinion on the original film? Tell me in the comments below. Thanks for watching, to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.